Thank you for the potion, Sylvia. Your instincts were right. They came in handy during the Heroes Happy Hour. Still not entirely sure why Baptiste called it that. It lasted several hours, and I witnessed a full range of emotions.
Okay, but was it fun?
I'm going to say yes. Also no. My experience was complicated.
Well, it can't have gone as poorly as my senior prom did. Unless someone summoned an eldritch horror on the dance floor.
Not that I noticed.
Then it sounds like a successful event to me.
Good to have that perspective, I suppose. My main trouble with the event, and it won't surprise you to hear this, I found small talk all but impossible. Oh, I could ask the trivial questions just fine. But listening to the trivial answers, my mind wouldn't sit still for that. I'm sorry, Sylvia, but I can't bring myself to care what a grown man's favorite color might be. And when people asked about me, well, I found I couldn't keep to trivialities.
You talked about three-legged coconuts, didn't you?
Coconuts, yes, and spiny-tailed avocados, and those berries that call you rude names. Also talked about how to fight them, and how to do it without wrecking the whole forest. I talked about things I care about, Sylvia. Things of interest to me. I even talked a fair bit about you.
You better have. Don't make me wrestle coconuts for your attention.
That is a particular fantasy of mine, actually. Anyway, some people evidently took me for a real downer. They made excuses to step away, and they never found their way back to my vicinity. A few scoffed at me when they thought they were out of earshot.
I'm sorry. I've been there, and it's hurtful.
But why focus on the ones who left? Because the ones who stayed, Sylvia, they stayed because they were genuinely interested in what I had to say. I've never been one to chase approval, but finding it feels good. And it's not just approval, really. It's this sense that I belong here. This feeling of community.
Sounds like the lone wolf found his pack.
You might be right. Some of us are even getting together next week to discuss sustainability measures the Guild could adopt. Looking forward to that. Right now, though, it's just you and me. And I like that too. Come on, let's prowl.
You're suddenly very quiet.
Well, just because a person isn't afraid to talk doesn't mean he can't enjoy the silence.
I've never been a fan of silence. It makes me nervous.
And I've never been a fan of chatter for the sake of chatter. Saying that, it might sound like I'm grasping for superiority of some kind. It's not that I mean to set myself apart from people. I'm not trying to be distant or unfriendly. But the truth is my hesitation around social interactions. It's always been about one thing: fear. I was afraid people wouldn't understand me. Afraid they wouldn't care about any of the things I cared about.
I'm glad you're getting past those fears.
I have you to thank for that. You never hesitated to join in on my hobbies. You never made me feel bad for rambling about my offbeat preoccupations. You expressed interest in what I had to say, and that helped me see that others might be interested too. And I haven't forgotten that this whole hero turn was your idea. Even when I was antagonizing you, you were listening to me, hearing me even then.
I can't take all the credit. You've put a lot of effort into, well, making an effort. And you've done all that while staying true to who you are.
We can agree on that. Whatever changes I've made, I'm still that same odd duck. I'm just a less lonely version of who I was all along.
That's a good thing, because there's enough typical to go around.
You're not so typical yourself, really. Of all the many marvels on this island, you're the most extraordinary creature I've come across. We're very different people, Sylvia. I suspect we always will be. But there's a common ground between us. A trail that you blazed with your wit, your compassion, and your fearlessness. If I'm ever silent in your presence, it's most likely because I'm struck dumb with awe.
Wow, I don't even know what to say right now.
Then don't say anything, my coconut. Let's just be here, in this moment, alone together.